Good afternoon. This is Barbara Schreiner Trudell, and you're watching The Joy Show. And today, I just want to begin with land acknowledgement, and then we're going to get right into what we're doing today. So, we are recognizing today that we live, work, and play on the traditional territory of many Indigenous nations, including the Anishinaabe, the Wendat, and more recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Haudenosaunee nations. And it is now home to many diverse First Nation, Métis, and Indigenous groups and Inuit people. Right across Turtle Island, there are so many people, and we're here to honor and respect their heritage, their lives, their journey, and also to acknowledge our part in the whole process that we're currently going through. So I'm really excited to say that we are all one, and that it is in that oneness that we come together in ways to strategize and to create harmony, love, peace, and joy within all of these groups with all of us. So there's only one. So we stop separating and we come together. Well, I'm so excited to be here with you today. Today is a little bit of a different day because my guest got sick. Kind of last minute. And so I'm on my own. So you got me today. The show today is really about creating life and creating it in a way that allows us to experience happiness or joy. And I really believe that as we find our own unique voice, as we live from our own heart desire, if that's a good way of putting it, we begin to create more happiness in our life. A lot of the challenges that we're faced with, we have little control over. COVID being one of them. There was no control we had over that. We had to just merely live with what was going on. Many people got sick, many people died, many people are struggling still today. The ideas of, an upcoming recession. Yeah, don't you love it when the economists say that? Sometimes wonder if by them saying it, they actually cause it. Maybe. But there's a lot of things that go on in our lives that can trip us up a little bit and cause us to feel like somehow we just don't know how we're going to get through. And what I wanted to share with you today is that with the Centers for Spiritual Living, the teaching that we do here, we actually offer very practical techniques and principles that anyone can use to create happiness, to sustain a life of joy and comfort, regardless of circumstance. Yes, regardless of circumstance. One of the things that I truly believe is that there's always going to be bumps in the road. The joy of life is that we are going to have opportunities where we feel challenged, maybe even completely disrupted. And there's a way through that. And what I love about what we teach at CSL on the Lake is that we offer ways of kind of going through life where we're able to maneuver whatever's going on with a greater sense of ease. So, for example, we do a thing called meditation. Now, meditation is a really practical tool. There's many different ways of doing it, but meditation is a way of learning how to control the mind is sort of how I look at it, right? We take some time in the silence. And I know sometimes sitting silent is difficult, isn't it? We go into meditation, and I think sometimes we think of meditation as being able to empty our mind completely. That rarely happens for me. I don't know if you're able to get there, but it rarely happens for me. What we're doing in meditation is giving the mind something to focus on so that we can train it to think more in alignment with what we would like it to be thinking, because sometimes it wanders. I know for myself, when I go into meditation, sometimes it'll be, I'm trying to be silent, I'm trying to be still, comfortable as I sit in the stillness, and then my mind goes, oh, you forgot to do the dishes. Oh, remember you need to go do the banking. Oh my goodness, did you remember to phone so and such? Oh, did I shut off the phone? Did I mute it? Oh, darn, I forgot to call Sarah. I don't know about you, but that's one of the things that happens in my mind. And what we're wanting to do, because our mind is receiving information from the people around us, and a lot of it is quite negative, what we're trying to do is choose what it is we think about. And the way that we can get control of that little wildness that happens in our minds is to begin to pay attention to where our thoughts are going and what they are. So we might notice that we're very fearful, that we're anxious, that we're dreading what's coming next. We're maybe afraid to go out in public because of COVID or violence or racism or whatever might be going on. And so our mind is working on that negativity. Maybe we watch the news 24/7. I know people who watch it a lot. And the challenge with that is the messaging is generally negative. So we have got all this negative messaging running through our minds that we may not even be conscious of because it's coming from outer influence. So what we want to do in meditation is get rid of all that for a moment, sit in the silence. Now, for me, my practice is to follow my breath. And so I will breathe in and think the word inhaling. And when I breathe out, I think the word exhaling. And I will do that throughout my practice. Now, I'll do it 2 or 3 times, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. And then my mind goes off and wanders off, going, oh, you forgot to buy milk, or whatever else was going on, right? I just automatically go, oh, what time is it? I need to do this. Oh, I've probably been in meditation for hours now, and I realize I've been there 2 minutes. What I want to do is train my mind to notice where it goes and then to bring it back to the focus. And the focus for me is the breath. Inhaling, exhaling. When I am focusing on my breath, I'm not thinking about other things. So if you imagine a little child running around the streets, you want to make sure that that child does not run out into busy traffic. And so we continually remind them, right? And we'll do that for years, actually, because little children forget or they get excited playing and they dart out into the street. So we want to give them continuous reminders until they get to an age where all of a sudden they no longer need a reminder. They stop at the curb and take a look. What we're doing with our mind is asking it to think in a certain way. And I'm not telling you to think my way. I'm telling you to think in the way that is best for you. Okay. So what we teach at CSL is we teach people, or Centers for Spiritual Living, I should not always abbreviate that. When we're teaching people to think, we're teaching people to think for yourself. Think for yourself. You know, at the depth of you, you know what's best for you. I don't know what's best for you, but you do. You know what fits with your values. I may not know that, but you do. So in the Centers for Spiritual Living, what we're doing is acknowledging your unique and special nature and suggesting to you that there are techniques you can use which will help you to realize your highest potential. Okay? Not the highest potential I want for you, the highest potential you want for you. And I know this is different than how most of us were raised. I know that I was raised to behave in a certain way, speak in a certain way, do a certain job, work hard and earn a living, all kinds of things like that. That's what my family wanted for me. That's what they taught me. That's what they knew. I don't do that. I do what makes my heart sing. The Joy Show, I came up with Joy as an acronym for just one you. And I come up with that because so many people today are trying to live up to the expectations of the people around them and are thereby miserable, suffering, some even suicidal, because they don't feel accepted and loved for who they really are. And so they're hiding their unique nature, their unique attributes, their way of being in the world. And so we want to shift that. And at CSL, everyone is welcome here. I have no expectation of who you need to be in order to be supported, loved, and cared for in my community. I accept you as you are, where you are. What meditation does is allows you to find that. It allows you to come to terms with who you are and to be supported in an environment where you are respected for who you are, for your life choices. Okay? Your life choices are to support your well being. Now, some of us make life choices that destroy our own well being. And so we can learn new ways of dealing with that. And again, meditation can be helpful because as we quiet the mind, even if it's for 10 minutes a day, I like to do at least 30, but sometimes an hour. But for some, especially in the beginning, 10 minutes can feel like a really long time of just sitting still and quiet. But I'll tell you, there's a great power in it. You don't have to follow your breath. There's other ways. So other things that you can do is you could focus on, well, a mantra. And that can be any word or series of words, whether you want to chant. But what you'll do is, let's say you choose the word love, and you just go into your meditation and you think love. And you might say it a couple of times, love, love. And then when you catch yourself off wandering, thinking about, what you're going to cook for dinner or where you need to go shopping or, oh no, what just happened on the news? Oh, look what's happening in Ukraine. Look what's happening in the Middle East. Oh my goodness, look what happened with our indigenous people. All of this stuff is going on. You want to just go, oh, wait a minute. I'm off thinking again. Gently, lovingly, kindly bring yourself back to the word, to the breath, or to the visualization that you're creating. All of these are tools, and we do offer meditation courses here at CSL on the Lake, and you're welcome to join those at any time. And all you have to do is go to our website. We always list whatever's coming next. So that can help you to get into a practice, learn what it is and how to use it. The other thing that I've noticed going on in the world today is that there's just a lot of fear. And fear is really powerful. And it can really block us and stop us in big ways very quickly. So I have a couple of ideas of what we can do to begin to reduce the amount of fear we're experiencing. And one of them is to stop watching the news. I know. And for some of us, that's yeah, I ain't going to do that. But here's the thing. If you would stop watching the news, let's say you watch it at lunchtime or you watch it first thing in the morning, then you can go through the rest of the day not watching it. Okay. So you watch one, maybe 30-minute section. The problem with this 24-hour news cycle is they only have so many news stories. And so they recycle them over and over and over again. And our mind absorbs like a sponge. Whether we're paying attention to it or not, our mind is absorbing like a sponge. And so we hear one story, right? But maybe in an hour, we hear it 10 times because they don't have a lot of news that day. And we hear that 10 times. But maybe we watch the news cycle 4 or 5 times during the day. Now we've got that same message maybe 10, 20, 50, 100 times. We turn the radio on in our car. Again, we're hearing that same message again and again and again. The mind does not really differentiate in ways that would suggest this is true or this is false, this is real, this is imaginary. And it also doesn't differentiate when we're watching a television program that's giving us these news flashes, these gory pictures, whatever's being presented. Our mind doesn't differentiate from that's one event that they're showing me again and again, or is the world falling apart because now I've seen this 1,000 times and it feels like there's 1,000 different events happening like this. We get this whole idea that it's bigger than what it is. When we look at the news these days, sometimes it feels like the whole world is a disaster. You can't leave your house because it's not safe. And I'm here to disagree with that. The majority of people on our planet today are kind people seeking to live the best life they can against whatever odds humanity is throwing at them at this time. Are there people who do bad things? Of course there are. Are they the majority? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And they're not always strangers. Sometimes it's people we know, people we love, even. So we want to take fear and acknowledge it for what it is. It serves us greatly when we're in danger. But when we're not in danger, it can be very destructive because it's causing us to think that everything's against us, that everything's going to harm us, that everything is going to hurt us in some way. And I want to make it clear that that's not real. So, one of the ways of looking at the ideas of fear is that fear sometimes is false evidence appearing real. That came out of A Course in Miracles. So, false evidence appearing real. I like to think of it sometimes, especially if I'm going to start a new venture, as feeling excited and ready. Have you ever noticed that when you have that kind of energy in your stomach of fear, that whether it's I'm afraid something's happening or I'm so excited, that it feels kind of the same in the body? So we want to just pay attention to that. It's not always something I need to run from. And so I want to pay attention. Am I being chased by a tiger, or am I embarking on a new relationship or a new career? Or, am I considering leaving a career or starting an education? Whatever it is, how am I responding to it and how is it responding to me? So we want to just get things into perspective. And when we allow ourselves to take a little bit of time each day in the quiet, in the stillness, and back to meditation, what happens is we give ourselves a little vacation from the fear, the anxiety, the worry, and we allow ourselves just to be still, just to take that moment and rest. The other thing that we do here at the Centers for Spiritual Living is we teach a thing called spiritual mind treatment. And spiritual mind treatment can also be called affirmative prayer. And what we're doing is we're acknowledging that there's a power in the universe that is working through us, and that the way that it does is through our thought process, through the words that we use. And so we can begin to think along certain lines. And treatment, last week I talked about treatment in my show. And treatment is a very concise way of practicing what is we really want. So let's say I want to have better health in my life, and I catch myself constantly going, oh, I'm so sick and I'm so tired and I'm feeling awful, I feel terrible. What I want to do is interrupt that and go, wait a minute, that's not what I hope to create in my life. What I hope to create in my life is a healthy body and a healthy mind. So I will do a spiritual mind treatment or treatment. I used to like to call it this thing that I do. I would say, somebody would have something going on that they wanted support with, and I'd go, well, there's this thing that I do. I could do it with you. And they'd go, oh, okay. And I would do treatment. By calling it this thing that I do, it sort of took some of the energy off of it. It's not prayer, which some people see as only religious. It's not spiritual mind treatment. Don't know what that is. So it's a way of saying, there's something that we can do because we're connected. And so I can speak these words on your behalf. And what happens is I allow myself to see your perfection, your wholeness, your uniqueness. And by doing that, somehow you get it too. It's really a fascinating process. But when we're doing treatment, and we can do it for ourselves, there's no special magic in it. It's a principle, works the same for everybody. Just like if you were, sitting back and painting a picture, and you had some red paint and you had some blue paint, and maybe you had some yellow paint, and you mixed the yellow and the red, or you mixed the blue and the yellow. Doesn't matter who mixes those colors. You mix red with white, blue with white. Doesn't matter who mixes them. You will always get the same result. Every single one of us will get the same result. If we're mixing blue and yellow, we're getting green. Doesn't matter who does it. Red and white, we're getting pink, right? Blue and red, purple, I think. Is there an artist in the room? It's like, so when we mix those colors, it doesn't matter if I mix them or Sue mixes them or Wayne mixes them or Nancy or Emmy mixes them. Whoever mixes those colors, they're going to get the same result. It's a principle. It works the same for everyone. What I love about treatment is anybody can do it, and it works the same for everyone. And what we're doing is we're giving our mind a new story to work on. We're changing ourselves at a conscious level, not into something that my mom wants for me or my dad wants for me or my boss would prefer, but what I want for me. What do I want for me? Just One You, this show, the Joy Show, is about what I found with people is when they're living their passion, their purpose, their principled life, their joy, whatever, when they're living from that, they are positive, productive, compassionate, kind, successful at whatever level fits for them. All of that happens because they're living their life their way on their terms. That's what we need in our world, more of that. As people do what they love and love what they do, it's amazing how much happiness comes from that. And it doesn't even matter how much money you earn or the prestige that you have or the college degrees or the letters before or after your name. If you're president or the pauper on the street, it makes no difference. Makes no difference because the joy that you feel then gets spread out over the world around us, and our world is a better place as a result. It really is a beautiful thing. Find your passion, find what you love, and do that. And some people go, yeah, well, I can't make a living doing this. I'm here to tell you, I'm not so sure. Years and years and years ago, okay, now I'm giving my age away. Years and years and years ago, I remember somebody put a rock in a box and called it a pet rock, and sold millions of them. A pet rock? I mean, come on. The journey that we're on is about finding our voice, our rhythm, and honoring it, and not looking to people outside of us to say it's okay for us to be us, but rather for inside ourselves to say, I'm okay to be me. I love me as I am, where I am. I love the gifts and talents that I have. And I even choose to love that part of me that I've always judged as bad and wrong, because somehow all of it together creates the person that I am. It's about pulling it all together and being of support. And the other thing that I found is that happy people love to be supportive of others. Have you noticed that? That people who are happy or are doing what they love, they're having a great experience of life, they're willing to go that extra mile for somebody else. They're willing to support another person, give them a hand up, reach out and say, hey, can I support you? The Center for Spiritual Living, wherever you are in the world, they're all over the place. Mine is CSL on the Lake, but the Center for Spiritual Living is really about you being you and loving that and living that. And we're here to support the very best of you, not of me, but of you. That when you come to our teaching, when you come to our classes, when you come to our services, what you're doing is you're coming to a place where hopefully you will be nourished and nurtured, a place where you will be respected, admired for your uniqueness. And that's the work that we do. That's the place that we strive to live from, is to create an environment that allows people to find themselves and fall in love with that. That's my strategy anyway. You're watching The Joy Show with Barbara Schreiner Trudell, and we're just going to take a little commercial break here. Got to do that. And we will be right back. Stay tuned.
Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
And we're back. This is the Joy Show. I'm Barbara Schreiner Trudell, and I'm just loving this chat that's going on here in the comments. Sue made a great point. Everything is created twice, first in mind and then in the world. And, we sometimes forget that it is, we go from thought to form. And if we could really understand the power of our minds and what we are capable of. I think we've bought into mediocrity a little bit. We've bought into, oh, I want to be normal. What is that? Somebody define normal for me. It's like, why would I want to be normal? Why do I want to be a part of, a mass thing when I could stand up and be unique, special, fabulous self, right? Like I could just be me. I have to remind people sometimes that everybody else is taken. So just be you. You are created perfect, whole, and complete. And we forget that sometimes, but we want to really focus on. Ernest Holmes said something in The Science of Mind that I really liked, and that is change your thinking, change your life. And I know that sounds real simple. It'll probably be the hardest work you ever do, however. But through meditation, we start to see our thinking, right? When you're sitting in the silence for 10 minutes or for half an hour or whatever you can manage, when you're sitting in the silence, your mind starts to run. Just notice it. Just notice it. See where it goes. If it is in fear and doubt and worry and self-judgment, loathing, criticism, guilt, shame, if all of that's what's running, just know that those thoughts are creating the world that you're living in. And you can change that. Because when you start to acknowledge and recognize how really remarkable you are, and I know you're created perfect, whole, and complete. So of course you're perfect. But we got messages as children that the way we are somehow was wrong and bad. And it wasn't a deliberate thing. Our parents said no to us a lot. Don't do that. Don't do this. Go here, go there. And we were being moved around like, I don't know, little pieces on a chessboard, right? You go here, you go there, you go here. This is good. This is great. You failed, you lost. What if we sort of give all that up and begin to reframe our existence, take some time in the silence, in the quiet, and maybe doing treatment where we begin to talk to ourselves about who we really are, where when we have a pain in our body, instead of taking a pill to make it go away, nothing wrong with a pill, by the way, but to look at it and go, what is this telling me? What is the message here? Because our body traps emotion in it. It traps these unresolved issues, somehow get trapped in our physical body sometimes and then show up as disease. So if I'm saying things that are causing my body to feel ill, maybe I can change what I'm saying to it to create something else. And I remember a story I heard a while ago. I think it was Karen Drucker who shared it. And it was about a woman with ALS who was in a wheelchair, disabled, and began to sit every day in front of the mirror, completely nude, and talking to how much she loved her body. And she healed herself. She healed herself by loving herself. I got the message when I was a child that, loving yourself, that's selfish, self centered, that, who do you think you are? And so we get older and we have to go, wait a minute, that none of that's true. If I don't love me, if I don't even like me, how can I possibly love you or like you or respect you? It's like, if I don't have it, how can I give it? So we find it in our hearts and in our minds to discover who we really are. And what I love about CSL on the Lake, we're pretty new. We just started in January and this is October. But what I love about it is everyone is welcome. We have teenagers attending our service every week, and they come to youth group, which is held on a different day. Teenagers, we're talking 14, 15 years old, who come and go, sit on the edge of their seat, taking in every word and going, wow, I love this. I love that. I love that teenagers would come and listen. That to me is beautiful. And of course, I've got old timers like me as well, but it's like creating a message that speaks to the masses. I do volunteer work outside of my center, and the work that I do, a lot of it actually has been around, reducing stigma in HIV/AIDS patients who, find it hard maybe to find community because of the way people will treat them once they find out about their diagnosis, if they find out about it. And there's, something about that, whether you have a health issue or you have a wealth issue or you have relationship issues, that doesn't define you. That's just an experience that that's just an experience you're having. It's not who you are. And our work and my work here today is to hopefully inspire you to look in the mirror and see what a remarkable being you are. I mean, you have been given gifts and talents that maybe you haven't even uncovered yet. I mean, I've got people in the room here that I know at age 50 had a transformation and all of a sudden became an artist. And then a few months ago, boom, another big epiphany moment and become a Reiki master and, a whole bunch of other stuff in between. Like, how does this happen? Myself, I had a healing in June, where I was, I'd go to the airport, I was pushed around in a wheelchair. If I went shopping with my 17-year-old daughter, she pushed me around in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk for any length of time or whatever. And I decided, wait a minute, if healing can happen for one person, it can happen for me. And it was 4 days later, I was completely healed. And now I can walk for miles and miles and miles, feel like $1,000,000. I can stand and do my services. I can do my workouts. I feel terrific. I go shopping with my daughter and we don't need a wheelchair. Yay. I gave away my walker. Yes. Healing happens. Yeah. And Sue mentioned Louise Hay. I've been reading Louise Hay's work for years, and her book, You Can Heal Your Life, is one of the most remarkable, remarkable things. She healed her life and she shared tools and techniques as a practitioner on how we can too. And that's the thing. That's what I love about CSL is that we have tools and we just give them to you. We're not going to yeah, Joe Dispenza, body is its own pharmacy. Your body will tell you what it needs. If you take something and your body reacts to it, don't take it. Doesn't matter what the doctor says. If there's a really horrible reaction and you're thinking, "Oh, I shouldn't be doing this," stop. Stop. Your intuitive self is telling you what you need and what you don't need. Do what works for you. And it could be chiropractic, it could be Reiki, it could be a surgery, it could be medications, whatever it is, whatever speaks to you, whatever feels right for you, do that. learn to listen to that whispering of the still small voice within you, that intuitive part of you that knows absolutely who you are, even if you think you don't. There's something in you that does. And when we start to listen to our own self, when we start to go within and pay attention more here than out here, we begin to explore the possibility of expanding our greatness, of realizing our true potential, setting intentions that allow us to grow and to be more, not in alignment with what somebody else wants for us, but for what our own self is pushing us toward, or moving us toward. So we have the ability to do that. I remember when I was 27 and received this call to ministry, and I'm like, the church I was attending at that moment didn't allow women to do that kind of work. So I'm like, well, I don't know. I got to do something, but I don't know how it's going to happen. And shortly thereafter, I found this teaching. And they allow girls to do this, women to do this, men to do this, straight people, gay people, doesn't matter who you are, you can do this work if you choose. I was talking to some other New Thought people a while ago about inclusivity, and inclusivity is an interesting thing. And most of us like to think that we're very inclusive. And I said to somebody the other day, what if, there's something that you're not really comfortable with? Are you willing to be uncomfortable in order to be inclusive? That's a great question. I think we might have to do a show about that when it comes to Spirit Cafe on Wednesday. Courageous conversations for changing times. That's what we do on Wednesdays. But the idea of, am I willing to be a little uncomfortable to really support another human being in evolving into their greatness? And I really strongly believe that as we help others to be their very best self, we actually are lifted as well, that somehow that lifts us also, because we're in this together. There is one divine, infinite, creative energy, only one energy, and it manifests in many diverse forms. But there's never a point where you're not connected with the one. There's never a point when there's something other than, right? There's only one, and we're all connected. And sometimes you'll be talking to somebody and you go, yeah, I don't think you're telling me the whole story. Somehow intuitively, they're holding back something. How do you know that? Because we're one. At the subjective side of life, we are one. And so we can support each other. That's why spiritual mind treatment works. I can do treatment for you, and you can experience a healing as a result of it. It's not because I healed you, because I didn't. You healed you. You healed you. You have within you that ability to heal because you're already healed. And there's been like a mask put over top of the healing, right? It's like we wear these masks that hide who we really are. And it's so beautiful when we remove them and we just stand naked to the world going, here I am. This is me. Take it or leave it. I love that. I love that. Yeah, Eckhart Tolle, powerful guy. His book, The Power of Now, is such a great one. He talks about sitting on a park bench, basically doing nothing for 2 years. I'm asking you to meditate for 10 minutes. He allowed himself to simply be for a while. And in that beingness, lost the attachment to this physical world, which then allowed him to fully embrace the essence of who he really is and to be that in the world. And he's doing fairly well. He's sharing great information with all of us and allowing us to find our true identity and to move forward in it in a way that honors us as well. There's so many great teachers. There's so many great books, but none of that does any good if we don't put it to practice. We got to practice. We have to, we hear an idea that feels really good to us, and then we have to do it. We have to go, oh, meditation. Yeah, I was kind of wanting to do that, but I didn't know how to do that. So where do I start? Well, you start where you are. Take a moment in the morning or the afternoon and just sit down for 10 minutes and do nothing. Close your eyes, sit comfortably, and breathe. And if you can manage 10 minutes easily, make it 20. And if you can manage 20 minutes easily, make it 30. It is in that quiet place that you'll receive inspiration for your journey forward. It's that quiet place that will allow you to just feel the energy. You'll become really clearly aware of this higher power that's within you. It becomes so obvious. I mentioned earlier, you change your thinking, change your life, and that, it sounds simple, not an easy thing to do. However, our thinking tends to ramble and wander, and so we want to contain it a little bit. Sue just shared, I script every day in the morning what I want in the journal as if I already have it. That's the thing with treatment, right? We're making a statement as if it's already done. And that's what Sue is talking about there. What's great is that as we set an intention, I like to set an intention in the morning. And my intention is, as Karen Drucker would put it, make my day amazingly awesome. I love that song, Amazingly Awesome. Or, my intention going into this job interview is, if this is the right and perfect place for me, man, they love me and I love them, and it is a perfect fit. That there's something about it that absolutely works. That, if I have a desire for health, that I'm not saying I'm going to get healthy. I am health. I am it. It's what I am. I have to be. I'm part of an infinite, intelligent universe. Of course, I am health. I may have thrown a little cloud over it for a moment, but I can lift that, and I can lift it just like that. I can make it move by beginning to notice where my thinking goes. Do I hate? That's going to produce all manner of discomfort within me. Do I love? That creates more joy. Am I fearful? Yeah, I love that. If it's your door, it opens. If it's not, something better is coming. I heard a while ago, and I'm not sure who said this, but I wish I knew. When you settle for less than what you really want, you get less than you settled for. Boy, I've done that a few times in my life. I don't know about you, but there have been times where it's like, oh, first thing that comes along, oh, let me grab that because maybe it's the last good thing that'll ever come. And then it's not a good thing at all. It's a terrible thing. There's something about the ideas that we have, or the joy that we have, or the love that we have, the expectations that we have. When we have a dream for something, live in that, visualize it, imagine it, see it happening. And then when something comes along that's, not quite there, just check in. Is this it? And if it isn't, don't settle for it. Go back into that vision going, wait a minute. What is it? What is it that I'm dreaming about? What is it that my heart aches for? Where is it that I want to go and live and just breathe fullness into my day and night? What is it? Like Michael Beckwith, the dream pulls us forward. Let's not resist it. Sometimes we get the dream, we go, whoa, back up. That's scary. I can't do that. Or I tried it once and it didn't work. I better not go again, like that. We do that sometimes. We want to live to our fullest expression. And the only way we can do that is to love ourselves completely. What I really love about Louise Hay's work is that, she has you look in a mirror and say, I love you. 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 We cannot say it enough to ourselves. One of the ministers in LA who's with UFBL Upchurch, She will get up in the morning and look in the mirror and just go, I'm a champion and I love my life. And, she gets herself all geared up. And before she had her son, she would talk about that she would play the Rocky theme music as she was doing her little champion dance. And I thought, that's powerful because right away you're starting the day with an energy that lifts and expands and grows and creates excitement rather than, oh, look at that. Oh my goodness, another wrinkle. Oh no, another gray hair. Whatever. We tell ourselves all kinds of stories. We want to interrupt those. We want to start talking to ourselves like we're the most beautiful, dynamic, fantastic, fabulous, remarkable thing in the universe. You know what? Because you are. I mean, if you really think about it, against all odds, you're here. Those that moment of creation when billions of little sperms are running around and somehow one connected, and here you are. Here you are. How fabulous is that? You are here. Wow. And because you're here, I know there's something really great that you're meant to do, to be, to become, to share. Say yes to life. Say yes to your life. Say yes to your journey. Say yes to that beautiful, glorious spark within you that is ready to ignite and explode. Say yes. Say yes to it. And I love what Sue wrote. We attract what we are, not what we want. When we sit back and go, I want, you know what we get? Wanting. The very thing that, I want $1 million. I want the love of my life. None of those things come. What I get is the wanting. Yeah. So we want to, let's back it up a notch. Let's go. What is it that life is calling me to be, to do, to have? What is life calling me? We don't need to be consumers. We need to be, compassionate, loving, glorious, happy, healthy people. And we can be that. Yeah, want is lack. Absolutely. Thanks, Sue. You really got some, back and forth happening here. I love it. The idea of living life fully, full out, is like such a gift and a blessing. There's my great grandson was here last week, spent a week with us, and 6-year-olds have a lot of energy. I'm a bit old to be running after a 6-year-old. But what was beautiful is just some of the things I got to experience as a result of him being here. And one of them was a documentary about a young man, a YouTuber, Mr. Beast. And I don't know if you've seen the documentary. I don't know that you would like all the videos he creates because some of them are pretty wild. But Mr. Beast had it in his mind that he, when he first started he wanted to be a famous YouTuber. That was his big thing, really wanted to be a famous YouTuber. And started to manifest that. He started doing it when he was 14. And he was like on there all the time, doing all kinds of weird little challenges, things, creating these videos. And that's what he wanted to do. And he got a semblance of success when he got into college. He didn't actually go to classes. He just kept shooting YouTube videos. And eventually one of them went viral and that sort of took off for him. But what was interesting is he decided, he got a car, he got this, he got that, and he realized how dissatisfying that actually was. He didn't get any pleasure out of it. So he got rid of all that. And he decided from then on that all the money that would be given to him, he would give away. So the first thing that happened was he was offered, one company said, hey, we'll give you $5,000 if you will promote our product on your YouTube channel. And he said, no. He said, however, give me $10,000 and I will give the entire $10,000 away. So the company gave it to him. And he went around to, somebody living on the street or somebody needing a car or whatever. He just went around and gave people money, people that needed it. He went around as this young man, I don't know, at the time he was probably, 18, 19 years old, and realizing that his joy came from seeing someone else happy. And he could do that. So what he did with his YouTube channel, and I assume he's still doing it now, is that whatever money is gifted to him from these various advertisers, he gives all that money away. The money he retains is what he earns through the residuals on his channel. But the gifts that come, he gives away. And Elon Musk gave him something like $17 million. I can't remember where he gave all that, but it's Mr. Beast and it's on YouTube. But watch the documentary. Watch the documentary. You want to know how to create abundance? Just give it away. The more he gave away, the more he had. The more he gave away, the bigger he became. The more he gave away, the happier he was. He gave and gave and gave and gave. Go figure. And he's got millions of followers on YouTube. I personally am not really into the type of videos that this young man creates. Some of them are pretty silly and fun. Some of them are a bit over the top, but there's a generosity of his spirit that really is quite lovely, and that came across in the documentary. And I think we could learn from that. You know, sometimes we sit back and we go, we just don't have enough. We just don't have enough. And if you don't have enough, then give. Give of your time, give of your talent, give of your treasure. You know, by giving, we actually create a greater sense. Oh, thank you, Deja. She just put the Mr. Beast documentary link in there for y'all. Don't run there now. Wait until 4 o'clock when I'm done. But the idea of the law of circulation, you know, I receive, I use what I receive, I share from what I receive, and I am blessed by all that transaction happens. So it's the giving and the receiving that actually frees us. It is when we get fearful and we hold on that we actually block the flow. And so life of itself is a flow of energy. And the energy is all that we are. And all of that energy is just one energy, part of this dynamic universe. There's only one thing. And because there's only one thing, and because there's only one thing going on, if we would just surrender into that awareness and understanding, and instead of trying to manipulate it through fear, doubt, worry, right? But rather to embrace the allness of life, the fact that there is only one thing here. And as I allow myself to hold it lightly, it flows easily, and there will always be sufficiency. The illusions in life are the lack and limitation, as Sue just put into the chat. Lack and limitation. That is an illusion. There is plenty. There is plenty. Greed, fear, because greed comes from fear. Fear is the thing that holds it back, that leaves some without and some with plenty. And it's up to us to balance the scales. And as we change our thinking, as we fall in love with ourselves, as we begin to live from that consciousness of possibility and opportunity, and we get excited about being alive, when we do that, beautiful things happen. That's when our days become amazingly awesome, as Karen would put it. We are part of an infinite, abundant universe. We're part of a glorious energy of life, love, and possibility. And we will be happy in the moment that we begin to live our own lives in our own way. Find your passion. Find your vision for your life. Find what excites, delights, and stimulates you, and do that. Do that. Live more from that. Learn to love you. When you look in the mirror, anytime you pass a mirror, and even if you're walking down the street, you know, the windows of the big department stores or whatever, you know, and you see your reflection, just look in the mirror and go, I love you. I really love you. Because the truth is, you can only give into life what you're willing to be in life. And you have been created in a really remarkable way. You're unique and special. You're this divine idea in the universe. And If you can fall in love with you, oh my gosh, look out, world. Something fabulous is coming. Something fabulous is happening. We are here not to put in time. We're not here to earn a big paycheck or get a degree. We're not here even to graduate high school, get married, and have babies. We're not here to fall in love. We're not here. We're not here for any of that. We are here to experience the joy of living. Wow, that takes a load off, doesn't it? Whether you want to be a YouTuber, a TikToker, whether you want to be a minister, a practitioner, or you want to clean up the streets by picking up trash, whatever you do, however you do it with love, do it with joy, do it with a sense of excitement and delight, and watch what happens. Watch what happens. You will begin to experience joy, 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 as Sue just put in the chat. Joy, joy, joy. Love follows you wherever you go. Joy will follow you wherever you go. You will meet the nicest people. You will experience the most remarkable things. And I had an experience that I'll share that I really, really loved as we get ready to close. But there was a gentleman outside of a drugstore that we were shopping at, my daughter and I, one day. And my daughter was about 14 at the time. And he was, saying, hey, can you spare some change for food? And of course, I never have change on me. I only ever have plastic. And I went into the store, bought him some food. My daughter and I picked out some healthy choices, came out and gave it to him. And he was so delighted that he just threw his arms around me and gave me the biggest hug. And it just felt so beautiful because he was so happy in that moment. And it was such a little thing for me to do. And then he looks at my daughter and he's debating, as a grown man, should he hug this teenager? And at the last moment, he goes, oh, come here, you little shit. And he gives her this big hug. And when we got in the car, she was like, wow, that was the greatest experience of all. Like, she was so moved by it in a really positive way. And I think the more we model behaviors of love, of respect and honor, as we cherish one another, as we cherish ourselves, we create a world that works for the highest and best good of all concerned. I love you. Have a most marvelous weekend. Know that you've been created unique and special, and loving you is such an easy thing to do. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.